And good evening, sim racing fans. We are back once again for round number 4 of the eRacr Roval Racing Series live tonight from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Hello, everyone. I'm Blake McCandless, joined alongside by Joshua Mendoza on, well, it's on my left.
Over there.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah.
Wrong side. Okay.
Yeah.
I was confused on either my left to the viewers. It's the viewers' left. It's my right. Okay, so Josh, Sean, there we go. I'm Blake. There's Josh. There's Sean. Of course, we have Justin Prince down on pit road and Zach Johnson down in the virtual production trailer as well. But Josh, I'll go ahead and start with you. We had a really exciting race last week, especially the Logitech Altus Esports guys were really going at it. We had a great interclass battle last week amongst the Cup cars. Were really racing each other hard last week.
Oh, yeah, it was incredible. You know, lots of really close, tight racing anywhere, you know, pushing for mistakes. Anywhere can happen on the track. It's been incredible these last couple of races. I mean, we've had an incredible A-class race, an incredible B-class race, an incredible C-class race. It's every race. We don't know what class is going to be that class or that race's incredible, you know, just close, tight racing. But, you know, we're here at New Hampshire, real tight course. It's going to be interesting to see which class kind of gives us the show today.
It's changed up every single week, Sean. I think that's what makes the series so interesting. But speaking of interesting, this is probably the most intriguing, awkward, challenging. I don't know how many words you can come up with to describe it. This track is going to provide a challenge that we're not going to see for the rest of the series, really. This track is hard to drive.
Absolutely. I mentioned this last week, and I'm actually kind of really looking forward to this race solely because this track is just so unique. We were talking about it earlier. JP and everyone was talking about it. This whole facility used to be called Briar Motorsports Park. It used to be just an entire road course. It used to be just fully functional for just mainly road races, IMSA stuff. So back in the day, this was a full-fledged road course, and since it was kind of refigured to the oval, there's a bit of the lingering road course that still inhabits this track. The whole road course section outside of the NASCAR circuit remanates that, and I'm excited to see how these guys tackle it. It's really narrow. It's got a lot of elevation changes, and there's not a whole lot of passing zones, but there are a bunch of like high braking zones that are on this track. And for these guys to make up some ground and get to the front here, it's going to take a lot to see who can navigate through those obstacles the best, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, that is one thing that we are going to have to watch for sure, is picking those passing zones. And by the way, if you're not familiar with the layout at this road course, let's go ahead and take you for a lap around the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I tried to do it. It didn't end up very well, but let's go ahead and see how it looked there. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway and what is perhaps going to be the most challenging configuration that these drivers will see in this series. A track that is narrow, it is awkward, it has elevation changes, it has everything that you could ask for, and of course, it's on an oval. So let's go ahead and take you a spin around the New Hampshire Motor Speedway road course. And as you can see here, really sketchy coming out of 3 and 4. You're in really high RPMs. Cars on edge as you cross the start-finish line. Hard on the breaker right at that 4 marker. Those brake markers set up for this road course. Really easy to lock up the left front, as you just saw right there. Easy to overdrive this right-hander. Changing asphalt colors make this an interesting exit onto the back straightaways. You kind of cut through oval 1 and 2. Hard braking zone as you work in here. A really tight right-hander. You want to get right along this curbing. And then probably the most interesting part of this racetrack, this uphill section down and behind the back straightaway, downhill braking zone. A lot of banking here, so you can carry a lot of speed, but there's a big fall off if you go over. Very narrow part of this racetrack, going to be nearly impossible to go side by side here in these stock cars. You crest this hill, another big braking zone, can't really fully commit to the throttle. And once again, we're back on. You see the pop of the right front there. And we have what is now traditional turns 3 and 4, but with the gearing, with this setup, a very awkward way to try to drive around this racetrack. You can see us working the wheel, having to wait until the straightaway to get back to full throttle. And that is a lap around New Hampshire. I imagine at some point today, it will not look that easy And that looked really difficult as it is. The margin for error has perhaps never been smaller than what will be provided here at New Hampshire. Should put on a great show. Let's get back to the booth. And I think you see it firsthand how difficult this race is going to be. But these are the keys to what's going to help you win, Josh and Sean. These are what these drivers are looking at. Go ahead and take us through them.
Any day now, Josh. You got that.
Oh, I'm sorry. My microphone was muted again. Track position, track position, track position. It is important. We just had qualifying, just finished up with that. And your throttle is your friend and your enemy. You want to be on the throttle quick. It's going to help you corner, but you're not going to want to be on it too much, because if you get it on too much, you're going to light those rear tires up, and it's just going to be an ice rink. You don't want to do that. And then Blake, you know strategy. Why don't you tell me, short pit or not, what are you going to do?
Well, Josh, you know, that's the one great thing about all strategies is nobody knows you're going to do it until after the race is over. So I'm not one to give up my secrets like I did Thursday night, but short pitting or waiting, I think at a track like this where passing is going to be so difficult, may see a little bit of dirty air come into play. It's a narrow racetrack, not exactly built for stock cars that are this wide. I think short pitting might be the way to go, honestly, because track position is going to be key. Getting through these sections, you have to get single file really quickly at this track. So if it's me, I'm looking at track position for the long game. But of course, everybody has a different agenda out here. And Sean, the last point, can you keep your head cool? That's going to be one thing I think we'll see of utmost importance tonight, because I think in this race more than any other, we may have accidents and there's not really a whole lot of runoff area or places to go to miss it.
Well, no, I personally like to have a fan, blowing on my head to keep it cool while I race. So that's personally what I prefer. But if you're talking about tempers, then yes, you're going to have to kind of keep your head on your shoulders, so to speak, to keep you from making those unnecessary mistakes. We've seen with some of these guys, even this season, just one or two little mistakes here and there, maybe get a little bit of a bump from somebody you don't appreciate. That can take them out of the whole game mentally, and they have to refocus. So I would say about maybe 60% of these races are mental. So they take a lot of mental toll on you. You got to figure out what move to make, when to make them. If something happens, you can't let it get to you. So we got to see how these guys can persevere through any adversity they may face, and that could be the difference as to where they finish in this thing.
That could be the case. And again, that also comes into play when you think about the fact that we are going to be racing across multiple classes once again. As you take a look at the point standings, there are your class standings for each section here. The A-class, Matt Danson has been on top for a majority of this season. You have Matt Taylor, Brian Sabelski, who have had some great battles in that Xfinity class. And then, of course, the closest battle we see right now, the trucks. There's a tie for second in the point standings, and not far behind Jeremy Burrow, who right now holds the lead in the Truck Series class.
Absolutely. And one thing to note, after this race, the series itself has a drop race, which basically means your worst results get deleted. We only count 5 of the 6 races towards the total championship. And after this race today, the points are going to start counting with that drop week included. So you might see the points shuffle, but the overall total should be about the same, if not a little bit less or a little bit more.
And again, remember, keep in mind, this is F1 style points. So 25 for winning, 18 for second, so on and so forth down the order. So somebody like Casey Kerwin, who you see is 7th right now in the Cup Series class, he's only run 1 race in this series. So you're not exactly out of it if you can go out and have a great run. Vicente Salas, same case. He went out and won last week. He's shuffled right up into 4th in the A-class standings. So a lot left on the line, even for some drivers that may not have made the full schedule for this series yet. But it looks like we're about ready. The drivers are on the grid. Qualifying is complete, and I think we're ready to go ahead and look at our starting lineup for tonight's festivities. And if you take a look at the lead in the A-class, Andy Trupiano with the upset over Matt Danson by just 0.15 seconds. Barely an advantage there for Trupiano, but he gets the pole here in A-class tonight. Matt Danson will start to his outside in row number 1. Lucas Cram will roll off from 3rd. Again, he's only a couple of tenths behind the race leaders, as well as last week's winner in Vicente Salas. He will start in 4th. 5th to go to Tyler Gary. 6th is John Whitendorf. And then 7th and 8th, Michael Gonzalez and James D. Gibson. Those are your 8 competitors tonight in the Cup Series class, and they will line up right behind them in the B class, Josh. And this is the starting lineup for that class.
Absolutely. We got Matt Taylor and Brian Zabelski going to be leading the front row of the B class. Behind them, Lucas Hoitzman and Gary Weaver. Going to be the second row of that class. Justin Malillo, Joseph Selby, the 2 J's starting next to each other. Philip Bupp, Cade McGee, going to be following up. Yeah, there you go. And then Ben McDonald, going to be the last one from the B class.
Rolling in through C class, David Grantham been so dominant this whole season. He will start on the pole. Brandon Panetto will start alongside him in the 19th overall position. Stacy Hunter and Jeremy Bro make up 20th and 21st. DG Swiss and Chris Colon will make up row number 13 or for 22nd and 23rd, I should say. That's not row 13. That's something else. Brandon Watkins, Dustin Ping, and the last 2 starters here, Riley Dunn, Tyler Stillwell, will round out the field as they make their way through the road course section of the track, Blake. And pretty stacked classes, pretty even this week all around, I would say.
They are very even. You want to keep in mind that we separate them by classes. You see them working through the upper road course portion of this racetrack, 87 degrees, 120 track temperature that will continue to climb throughout the night. You see a lot of rubber on the racetrack. So again, this track is going to heat up. Partly cloudy skies. We had a lot of cloud cover in qualifying. That has since moved through, but that is something we will have to keep a watch on throughout this race. But Sean, talking about those qualifying times that we see, Matt Taylor, who of course is lining up in 9th right now, he was 5th overall running an Xfinity car. David Grantham was 6th overall, but he's starting 18th because we separate by class. So perhaps more than any other week, we've seen the Cup cars, the horsepower they have on the straightaways is very hard to beat. But I think this is the closest we've seen in all 4 rounds where the Cup car, the Xfinity car, the trucks are going to be running very identical lap times later on in the run.
And we've mentioned it, throughout the season. I mean, it looks like the trucks are a little bit better in the slower road course portions of each one of these tracks. And of course, the Xfinity and Cup cars have that distinct advantage on the straightaways. The Cup cars more than all of them, but just because they're high downforce. But yeah, guys like David Grantham and Matt Taylor have been case in point with that all along. They've been shown that, hey, if the road courses are pretty lengthy on the infield portions of these tracks, they could keep up with the Cup cars there and maybe give them a little bit of a hard time, maybe steal a couple overall positions from them. But overall, like I said, it's going to be finding out who is going to tackle these corners, this elevation change of the racetrack. We've got a couple bank corners, as you saw in Blake's video. Overall, this is going to be a great test for these guys, and I'm excited to see how they tackle everything.
It is. And before we get rolling on to the green, let's welcome in the 4th member of our broadcast crew tonight, Justin Prince. Anything you're hearing pre-race, Justin, that you think we ought to know?
Well, when it came to Matt Danson for last week, he actually ran that race one-handed because he got his entire left arm tattooed entirely black except for a Rob Zombie portrait on his hand. So he was running in pain in one hand with his pace in that race. He's looking to be consistent here tonight.
That's awesome. I love that.
So
what a report.
That's an incredible report, but an incredible start here, as it looks like the entire field has all agreed to separate the classes out by 10 or 5 seconds apiece. A class has taken the start and B class is now taking the line now. This is awesome.
This is something that was not orchestrated. We have not seen it yet, but yeah, the classes themselves, the leader of it just decided, hey, to separate and make some room for each other as they head off into one. They're perhaps trying to help the chaos because they're already single file up here into the A class as they work into the road course portion here behind the back straightaway at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We already have one truck off. It is DG Swiss. You can see there on the exit of Oval Turn 2, he is already spun. Dad Gamer Swiss, unfortunately not a great start for him, but otherwise single file and smooth sailing so far for the rest of the field.
Well, it took them 4 weeks to figure out that start might be beneficial for everyone's safety in this race, so good on these guys. But A-Class is broken away pretty handily from the rest of the field now. They're still kind of clumped together as they make their way back onto the oval portion. The C-Class, though, the leaders of that have caught the tail end of the B-Class. So that's going to be cool to see if they can make their way through. But as of right now, Andy Trupiano still showing the way. He'll lead lap 1 overall.
Trupiano going to lead the way. And again, what for me in that practice lap, Josh, was so difficult about this racetrack was you're going down the front straightaway. You're so used to lifting for the oval, but you're having to lift much earlier getting into turn 1, especially as another truck goes off wide. Or actually, no, that was Philip Bupp in the Xfinity car. He is back in traffic, getting passed by some trucks in the C-Class. He overshot, and I think it's going to be so easy. I think more than any, we're going to see a lot of drivers overdrive turn 1 just because they're so used to looking into turn 1 on the oval and just going right in there.
Absolutely. As we see Tyler Gary here, he's having a little bit of internet issues trying to help the field out by letting everybody by. That's a nice guy there. But as you're saying, going into turn number 1, I don't know why. It's just so awkward. I can't figure it out. As you were saying, it's just, you get in there and you're mentally not prepared for just turning left into the apron area of New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's not something you typically do. So it's kind of wild. Anyways, Blake, yeah, as you were saying, confusing and awkward, I guess, is how I would describe that whole portion of the track.
It is, as you see, a great battle up here for the lead in A-Class. Trupiano trying to fend off Matt Danson as they work onto the back straightaway here into turn 3. Right-hander uphill as you start to crest into turn 4. And then very quickly, downhill slope. You can actually look out on the oval and see everybody else duking it out as you work through the carousel, or as our friend Parker Kligerman referred to it as the bowl here on the back straightaway. I think that's a pretty apt name for it. 6 and 7, a big slide out of Matt Danson there that you see on your screen into turn 9, and then a right-hander turn 10. And this is a little bit interesting too. So a lot of people who recognize this road course configuration, they're used to them going to the inside through the infield of what is oval 3 and 4 and going through what on this road course would be known as turns 11, 12, and 12A. But this is a Roval Racing Series, right? So we're going to at least make them run part of the oval. So they have to run 3 and 4 as 11 and 12.
Definitely. So that kind of adds a little bit of a curveball to it. We kind of talked about that before the race, and Josh brought up a good point. That I've got to keep a little bit of the oval in there to be in the Roval contingency here. But back up front, we're seeing this battle for the overall lead of A-Class and the race is pretty tight right now. It's 4 trucks, or cars, I should say. These are cars. There's Andy Trupiano again leading, Matt Danson, Vicente Salas, and Lucas Cram is still hanging on to this battle here. So we saw it very similarly at Indy last week. These A-Class battles can get pretty intense with these guys being able to hang with each other. So it looks like we might have another one of these type of races on our hands tonight.
Am I an eRacr broadcaster now? I've officially been on camera and been on my phone at the same time. I think I fit in now. I think I'm ready. All
right, Landon. Well, actually, Parker does it too. I'm not gonna call Landon out. Both of them do it sometimes. It's pretty funny to watch it when it happens.
Well, who do you
on
think
broadcast.
does it more?
Definitely Landon. Definitely Landon. Yeah, for sure. My favorite is when it's Landon and you see him, he's sitting here and you just see him going like this, and you know what he's doing. He has it off screen, but he's like this, and it's pretty funny. So
when you get as many Twitter notifications as he does, you're gonna have to, hang there.
I suppose so. As we take a look on your screen, there's the 97 machine trying to get to the outside of the 21 here. This is again through the infield section 1A into turn 2 and a very short climb up. This is for 97. Who are they batting for? This is for the lead in B class. So we have a good battle going on for the A class lead in Trupiano and Danson. We also have a good one here, Matt Taylor and Lucas Hoitzma right here for second in B class.
Yeah, Lucas here is making his series debut. We got a wreck off of turn number 1. I think Riley Dunn and Dustin Ping got collected together. They get it rolling here, but yeah, that pretty good run so far for Lucas Hoitzman. This is his series debut. Excited. He was telling me and texted me back and forth. He's like, yeah, I've been looking forward to doing this. I just forgot to register early, so he's excited as we see the 97 car. Here you go, Lucas Hoitzman.
Yeah, there he is as he's running up there. We also had an issue. The leader in C class, or at least he started on the pole, was David Grantham. He spun on lap 3, getting off of turn 2 onto the backstretch. He was in the infield, and he's gotten through it fine now, but he's lost quite a bit of time in doing so. He's fallen all the way back in class to the 5th position, so Grantham going to have a little bit of time to try to make up here before he's able to go up and battle once again for hopefully what he hopes is another C-class win. But at the moment, looking up front, there's a pretty good battle going on right behind Matt Danson. It is Vicente Salas, who didn't quite have the qualifying effort that he was hoping for as they knock over a couple of cones here on the next straightaway. All of the cones, they're just going bowling right here, like Grand Bowling, I suppose. But Salas right now, he's in 3rd in class, but this is shaping up to be a good 3-way battle for the overall lead in this race.
It definitely is. We saw how aggressive he was at Indy a couple weeks ago, well, last week, I should say. So looking to pick up right where he left off with that. But Josh, I mean, I didn't know they were going to knock those cones out as much as they did on the backstretch there. That could be the new way of getting through that, a whole little ordeal back there. But good battles happening all over the track right now.
Absolutely. You know, knocking those cones over definitely makes the trackside workers have to go out and get into the line of danger, but they're virtual, so no big deal. Those cones will get placed, and we will likely see them. If they continue to find that as a place they can make up time, we'll probably continue to hit them. So it'll be fun to watch those cones get hit. But battles all over the track, like you said. Looks like Lucas Hoytsman got around the 82 car of James Gibson. So now it is those two in line, but about 4 seconds or 3.5 seconds separating the two of them. So.
Speaking of Vicente Salas, who you see on your screen right now, JP, what are you hearing down there on pit road?
When it comes to him, he's been laser focused and quiet on the radio, trying to stay dialed in. He emphasized to me prior to today's race that he felt like saving would be a huge part of long run pace for this racetrack, but felt it would be difficult as about driving as straight as possible with extreme throttle control was going to be critical. He thought tonight would be a battle. He was hoping to match the results from last race, and we're seeing so far he's got that performance. It's just been a matter of trying to dial in those tires.
That's been the case, and even during that report, JP, I saw him running the apron in 3 and 4. Do you think that's something that maybe in some strange way can help him save tires a little bit?
It's an interesting thought process because keep in mind when it came to the oval for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, in turn 3 in particular, drivers were actually able to find a lot of grip like on that apron. So it's something that drivers experimented with and were able to make work when running on the 4-corner ovals. So that is definitely something that can come into play. Keep in mind, a lot of these drivers who run eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series competition put in tons of preparation, find any little bit of speed, and that might be something he's thinking could carry on over.
All right, Justin, thank you so much for that. Hit down there on pit road as Salas, you could see right there, looking for a little bit of clean air, just not able to get around Danson. He caught him and just has not been able to do anything with him at the moment. And I think that just goes to show how important track position is. Do we see short pitting coming into play here as well? Obviously keep tabs on this 3-way battle for the lead. I see a really good battle going on for second right now in the C class. Christopher Colin, Jeremy Barreau, and of course Tyler Gary, who just is splitting them right now. So Gary trying to get by. He's in a faster machine. But there's been a really good battle going on here. You see Jeremy Barreau all the way down on the apron trying to get by as he's almost in the wall off of turn 12.
Those tires must be pretty hot. You know, I was telling you about the throttle being your friend and your enemy. It'll help you corner. But off of turn 4 there, getting too early on throttle, you know, it's weird. There's a weird balance there because it gets tight in 4, but then you get on throttle too soon and it does that on you. So you don't want that to happen. Definitely something to consider, trying to find a way to make the best relationship possible with your throttle pedal.
You have a good relationship with your throttle pedal, Josh?
My throttle pedal and I do not have a good relationship. As far as my tires are concerned, it might be an abusive relationship between me and the throttle pedal. I don't know anything other than on and off with that throttle pedal. So
guys,
there you go.
Battle for the lead overall is heating up. Danson made a move into turn 1 on Andy Trupiano. Wasn't able to make it stick, but they're getting more aggressive now up here. We're going to keep focused on those other classes as well, but this is where all the action is. As Vicente Salas all into the back of Matt Danson there. This is getting physical early. We thought they'd all be saving tires, as JP mentioned about Vicente, but I think the aggression has ramped up a little bit further as we head along, as we got a truck just off the track ahead of them. That's Brandon Watkins in the 22. He's going to keep it out there. Good job by Brandon to stay out of the way there.
Well, also look at who's coming to this battle. Lucas Cram, the Valvoline Chevrolet, has made it a four-way battle for the race lead. We saw Trupiano slipping up a little bit, but again, with Danson, with Salas, it is so hard to do anything. And we also heard, again, this is Watkins Glen that we were talking about, but we heard Dirty Air was a pretty big topic on Tuesday night in the Coke Series race at Watkins Glen. You think that may also be the case tonight? I know we have a lot of slow corners, but heading into turn 1 here, you're going about 100 down to 90. Salas looking to the inside of turn number 1. He won't have the preferred line in turn 2. A big slide out of that. Salas way offline, but he might make it work. Nearly hits the tire barrier down there. They'll go side by side down the back straightaway and in to turn number 3. I think Danson, though, he will have the position here.
So we see them battling, going up the hill, ready to enter the bowl area of the track. They're still side by side. Now he's going to have the preferred position here, and you'll see him. He'll very easily clear. You know, you kind of got to make the passing zones at this track. There really aren't any very obvious passing zones unless the car ahead of you is just so much slower than you. So it is very difficult to make your way around this track, at least without making contact with the car in front.
Very difficult to do that indeed. As David Grantham, I saw back in the C-Class, he has made quick work and is already charging his way up close to second for the C-Class, as he has caught Christopher Colin here as they work into turn 4 through turn 5. They're trying to catch each other. So far in the B-Class, it is Matt Taylor clear and out front, about 5 seconds up over Hoytsma there for the second position. A little spread out there. In the rest of the class, Gary Weaver, Justin Malolo hanging close behind. As you see, I think Grantham has quite a bit of pace over Colin right now. Remember that Grantham ran off track earlier, spun out, and has found his way back up. So he's done a nice job trying to catch these guys, as it's about the closest battle on the track. These two right here, and then, of course, our top 3 in the Cup Series class.
I actually want to direct our attention to Lucas Hoytsman and Cade McGee. They were racing side by side as they're entering into the road course section of the track. They were getting real close to each other. James Gibson in front of them, holding them both up. So it's keeping these guys kind of in a little ballet of changing positions back and forth.
Very good battle you found here, Josh. This is for second in the B-Class. Hoytsma McKee off of turn 7. A little bit of a hop of the curb there. That's going to help McGee make up some ground as they start to head downhill into turn 9. Hoytsma really struggling for rear grip at this juncture. Really
man. I hate to take our attention away, but Vicente Salas is working on Andy Trupiano for the overall lead, and I think he just got it. Oh, my goodness gracious. I think we found our passing zone, turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, Salas able to hang tough there through turn 2 on the inside, and now he is going to try to scoot away. Battle hasn't ended, though. Danson and Trupiano inches apart. You have Lucas Cram looking for a way around just behind him, Sean.
I mean, we got about 15 minutes until the halfway break, but these guys are treating it like it's the last lap. So Trupiano might lose 3 spots here. It goes from the lead back to 4th. And that might let John Wietendorf kind of close the lead. He's got a bit of a gap between these 4, but Salas by far, JP mentioned saving tires, and he might have done just enough to kind of keep the tires saved behind all these guys, just biding his time, and looks like he's putting a little bit of a gap on Matt Danson now.
He's put a lot of a gap between he and Matt Danson. It's probably about 7 to 8 car lengths that Vicente Salas has stretched out over the 30 of Danson. But unfortunate for Trupiano, he falls back to 3rd. He's able to hold off Lucas Cram for the moment. As Cram, again, I think as a result of the battle, was able to catch the rest of these drivers. Update on that B-Class battle that we were talking about just a couple of moments ago. Hoytsma and McGee still separated by about 5 car lengths or so. That's for second. Matt Taylor still continuing to pull away and lead the charge in the B-Class. David Grantham has not been able to make his way by Christopher Colon in that C-Class. They currently sit second and third in the trucks, respectively. But back in the back, there are a lot of trucks who are well off the pace, or at least in the back of the pack. You would imagine that since they're likely the slower vehicle. But Riley Dunn, Dustin Ping, Tyler Stillwell, a couple of drivers who are just hanging on to the lead lap, about to get lapped here by Vicente Salas. You see him go on by, but Stillwell trying to hang on.
This is entertaining. I feel like we need side-by-side for like 3 or 4 different battles on track. We just need the 4 images so we can have all 4 battles all at once. This is crazy. I can't keep my eyes away from any of them.
Might be required in this type of series now.
Oh, James Gibson almost loses it in front of those 2 B-Class drivers, Kate McGee and Lucas Hoytsman, side-by-side right now. Oh.
That's gonna let McKee get to the bottom of the racetrack for them, and he's gonna try to overtake Hoytsma. They're side by side off of NASCAR turn 4. Hoytsma's gonna have the preferred line momentum off the corner, but now McKee might have a chance to send it up the inside. Let's see if he does, and he's gonna fall in line right there. So Hoytsma able to hold him off, but that's rare that you see an A car get into the way of the B car lead or position there. That's one of the first times we've seen that.
Well, it's a case where Gibson has just, I don't know what he's done to those rear tires, but there is just no grip left in him as you see this battle continuing on here, up the inside through turn 3, up through turn 4, and McGee is going to be able to make that pass. Yeah. So Caleb McGee, a nice move there through 3 and 4. That is a difficult section to try and overtake here, as I guess I'll get into that open wheel terminology, as Caleb McGee now up into second in class with that move over Lucas Hoytsma.
So I guess another battle we can probably direct our attention to now as this one kind of settles down. The 99 of Chris Colon and David Grantham in the C-Class battle going into it. So the Blitzpack C-Class has been kind of quiet right now, kind of glancing back, but these 2 guys have been battling with each other for the last, I don't know, like 5 or so laps. Colon a little faster than Grantham that last lap, but Grantham not letting him out of his sights, as they're still, though, behind the 5 of Brandon Panetto, who's got, looks like about a 7-second lead of these 2, and Colon goes around off the bumper of Grantham, so that is not going to sit well with the 99.
Well, actually, I'm not sure if there was contact there. That was really close. They both used that curbing. You see them hop the curb with the right front, and yeah, I don't believe there was any contact there. I think the 99 just got a little loose, and what's interesting here, Sean, is Grantham thinks he got into him, but looking at my replay, I see some space between those 2 trucks.
Yeah, upon further review, I did a replay myself, and I'm like, you know what? They both hit that curb that's surprisingly strong there. I mean, that's a little tiny bump on the track, but it looks like they're hitting a boulder down there, launching those trucks off of 2 wheels. But yeah, it looks like Colon just kind of couldn't gather it up as well as Grantham did. He's going to slide back to 4th in class right now, 18th overall. So he's got some ground to make up for sure.
I don't know. I know Justin Prince can hear some of the driver communication going on. What are they saying back and forth there, Justin?
When it comes to that situation, it was an immediately apologizing moment for David Grantham, because he thought he actually indeed did get into the back of Colon. But Colon immediately came over the radio and clarified that, no, you didn't get into the back end there, essentially, is what he said in response there. I don't think Grantham was expecting to get that position the way he did, but he mentioned he needed solid execution to avoid issues like tracks at Pocono and Indy that got him in trouble, and that was near trouble in that circumstance for him.
Certainly was, as that's an interesting issue when you think that you spun somebody out, but he actually didn't. As Gibson is sliding. My goodness.
You okay, Josh?
I'm just over here and I just hear the Tokyo Drift theme song playing in the background as I see Gibson go around the track. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Carry on.
We've gotten our weekly Josh squeak out of the way early on here before the halfway break, which of course will come up in about 9 minutes time. We will have a break at 30 minutes. Some smoke entering 1 and 2. I believe it was from either Justin Malillo or Riley Dunn. You see Gibson is just on the struggle bus right now. My goodness, he has no rear grip in that car. My goodness.
I think it was
the graphic when you need him. Oh my goodness. Does he have a flat tire in that thing? He's just all over the place right now.
I'm not sure what's going on. I think he's recording stuff for his Formula D application tape right now. This has been pretty entertaining to watch this last lap as he just goes around and kind of, making a pretty good, impressive Formula Drift compilation here with a cup car.
He's looking like Seth DeMerchant under every caution I've seen him in. So.
Well, and again, this is for last on track in class. We have had one early exit from the A class. It was Michael Gonzalez. We also had Stacy Hunter. He is 10 laps down, but he is still on the track. And yeah, I think he knows he's on the broadcast right now. So I think he's just lighting him up for us.
I hate to tear our attention away, but Lucas Cram is making a move on the current leader of the A class championship, Danson.
He is. He made by for third overall. And Cram, guys, this isn't something we've seen out of Lucas Cram so far this season, being able to keep up with the pace of a Matt Danson. But so far, Cram has really saved those tires. I think Danson's struggling a little bit for that rear grip. We've seen how important it has become these last couple of minutes to have those rear tires. And right now, I think Cram has it. He's going to look to the inside here through the carousel.
Just looking through the notes that JP has given us for James Gibson, it's just, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm trying to keep the rear tires, but he knows what he's doing. He's too good of a driver not to know what's going on. But look at Cram all over the rear bumper of Matt Danson there. Andy Trupiano is right in striking distance as well as Vicente Salas, as JP reported earlier, saved those tires. He is gone. But here comes Cram underneath Danson again. And it's very difficult, especially off of this portion of the racetrack. You want to pick that throttle up to try to get the pass, but we've seen these cars just push right off the exit in NASCAR turn 4. As here comes Cram into turn number 1. He's going to make it stick. Danson doing a good job of fighting off on the right side. Oh man, he slots right in front of him. This has been a great battle so far. We're not even halfway yet. We still got plenty of race to go.
That is exactly right. We are not even halfway, but of course, the one thing coming up here, Josh, these next couple of minutes, what we talked about in your keys to the race, do you short pit? Do you risk it right now? I think if you're one of these three drivers and you see, one, how far out that Vicente Salas is now, and two, how difficult it was for him initially to pass you, I think maybe if you're these three drivers, you kind of form a pact and come down pit road a little early.
Oh, this is getting really dicey for Vicente Salas real quick. But no, I was going to say, yeah, you can short pit here. And if you do...
they're 3 wide and turns 3 and 4 around Philip Bupp on the inside. Gibson still drifting up there. Jeremy Barreau is right in front of this battle.
I was just kind of reacting to that while you were talking, Blake. James Gibson coming off of turn 10 was backwards. So he was literally moving backwards coming through that corner. So that's... I
believe they call that a reverse entry in drifting. You flip it backwards and come in backwards while drifting. So,
Josh, you might have to look into creating the eRacr Roval drifting series now if Gibson's going to be doing that. But how that thing has not gotten a flat right rear, I have no idea. So he's definitely going to be one of those guys coming in taking 4 tires, and who knows? Maybe we'll see him actually try to take it seriously as they make their way through the field. But right now, as we see here, Danson and Cram making their way through lap traffic. They just go by Joseph Selby in the 999, currently sitting 7th overall in B class. And there goes Gibson again, just letting these guys go. But these two guys, Lucas Cram, Trupiano, and actually 3 guys now, Danson there, all not letting each other out of their sight here as they battle overall for second.
A close battle here is we're about a minute and 50 seconds away from those pits closing. Only one driver opting to short pit so far. That's Justin Malillo. He's 1 lap down and is in the B class. Last car on the lead or on the track right now for B class. But we got Bupp that's on pit road right now. Bupp. There you go. Selby following suit. And things are going to close very shortly in about a minute and 20 seconds. So you have about one more opportunity. If you've just passed pit road, you're not going to have that opportunity because these are about a minute 30-second laps.
Well, what I would see if I'm Danson or any of these drivers up here, and this can relate to any driver that thinks that they can get a lead in their class. If the leader in your class doesn't pit, you do. If they do pit, then maybe you stay out and get some fresh tires on them. As you see Danson still holding on to second in the A class and overall over Lucas Cram, Trupiano. These three have not separated. They are having a blast out there. There's a little bit of contact from Danson and Lucas Cram. They'll go side by side, continuing up the climb, downhill 8 and 9, right-hander into turn 10. Can Cram hang with them? I don't know.
Oh my goodness, they're taking all the cones out. Here comes Trupiano around Cram, so move him into third overall. Now, is he going to be able to do anything with Danson? Cram and Danson, just here comes Cram. He's taking the strategy. He's coming onto pit road to get some tires. That's the farthest up of our leaders that we've seen that try to execute the short pit.
Yeah, he gets onto pit road within mere seconds of when it closes. You can see in about 5 seconds that pit road opportunity will close. You cannot pit 3 minutes before the only caution we will have in this race, the halfway break, and pit road has officially closed, so nobody else can come down. So Cram gonna be one of the few who will try to get that track position to get this restart. But up front in the A class, that will net Vicente Salas about a 13-second lead. Right now, Matt Taylor, let's give some love to Matt Taylor, because right now he is 11 seconds up in the B class over Matt Taylor, or excuse me, over Lucas Hoytsma. He has opened up that gap quite tremendously, so a nice job there for Matt Taylor, who really just hasn't had any issues. He's just been solid and clean this entire time. Haven't noticed any lockups, any off tracks, anything like that to hinder him. And then, of course, I think the C-Class isn't quite over with between Brandon Panetto and David Grantham. I think there's more to be said from that, especially after we get this halfway caution.
Hey, Josh, I have a question.
Yes.
Are we able to, let people graduate to, higher classes mid-season? I think we might have to look into doing this for Matt, because he has just dominated the last couple of races.
What higher class do you want him in? Oh, you mean Taylor. I thought you meant Danson. I'm like, I don't know how he's in A class. He is more than welcome to, if he meets the requirements for the A class, which is I think it's 3,000 I rating, either oval or road up. He can graduate at any time, except if he does that, he gets rid of all the points he's earned so far.
Ooh.
So if you do that, you're welcome to, but it's got to be for a reason. I see it more of a, if you realize you got in over your head sort of situation where you want to demote yourself to a lower class.
That is risky to try and make that decision. We have seen a couple of drivers do that in this series. A couple of names, I know Schildhaus was one of them, isn't quite out there this week. And no contact. Brandon Watkins, James Gibson lock up and get into each other entering turn 1. It has just not been going well for James D. Gibson. I don't believe this night is going to get any easier for him moving forward, but nonetheless, he goes another lap down to Vicente Salas. Just not a night to write home about for Gibson, other than the fact he's getting a lot of TV time with some of the drifting that he's doing. Otherwise, it has just not been going his way. But in 30 seconds time, we will take the halfway break over a track that is littered with rubber, and tire marks from James D. Gibson, as well as a couple of other drivers. And I don't know, we really set ourselves up here for an interesting finish. We have a couple short pitters in each class. You mentioned Justin Malillo. Lucas Cram did so as well. About half the field is a lap down. They'll get waved around after the caution. We got 5 seconds left here, and I think that'll bring out the yellow. I think, Josh, you can see the look in Josh's eyes. He is ready to throw that caution.
Absolutely. We're gonna go ahead and oh, look at that, wild. The caution just comes out, and pace car is gonna pick up Vicente Salas after it plows. Almost runs into Gary Weaver, but manages to avoid him.
Good Country USA machine is around. Brandon Watkins. Again, Josh Mendoza, a very talented individual, being able to do race control and commentate at the same time.
on his 17 stream decks he has there.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I'm inside of a space capsule. Got a huge screen, all these different buttons I can press. What's the one that gives me a coffee? Use one of those right now. Under caution, so with our last restart, I was just thinking about this. Our last restart, we had all those different classes separate themselves out so that nobody. Oh, Vicente Salas off the track here. I mean, you don't need those tires, so why not, cool them off? Maybe make your tire changers happy. Go ahead.
Could he be executing the Blake McCandless strategy? Just cool him down so he doesn't pit.
Ooh, I don't think you can make it to the end, but that'd be wild if you could.
You never know.
I doubt you can make it on fuel to the end at this point. But also, everybody needs to catch up to the pace car. That's probably been the one issue we've seen, is that after these cautions, it takes people quite a while to catch up to the pace car. Salas right now is entering pit road. Everybody else still kind of racing through the field, trying to catch up. Gibson has gone around. That may need a black flag clear, Josh, so we'll let you get on that. One thing we want to mention, though, during this pit stop, we'll talk about it actually in a little bit. We'll head down to pit road here with Justin Prince as the 55 pulls into his pit stall. JP.
Can say when it came to going off the racetrack there, noted on his stream that he wasn't paying attention. 86, 81 on the front tires in terms of his grip. Taking 4 tires and fuel on this stop. The rest of the drivers did show frustration with Gibson over the radio as well with the traffic jam. But other than that, everyone else having a lot of fun around this circuit, especially with some of the TV time Gibson was able to get. Everyone taking their 4 tires and fuel right here on this service across the board.
And we'll have to see how all this shakes out. Salas is already off as the rest of the field came down. Again, Lucas Cram stayed out, so, I mean, you would think that he's probably technically the leader right now. I'm not sure what iRacing's telling them to do, but you'd have to imagine that he would at least get a little bit of track position there through that pit strategy call. One thing to note, though, and this is something that you can do as you're sitting at your desk or on your phone, wherever you're watching this broadcast right now, is you can go to fast.co, and because our good friend today, Parker Kligerman, got his first top 5, if you can imagine this, Josh and Sean, first top 5 in the truck series at a track that wasn't Bristol or Super Speedway since 2012. So a big day for Parker Kligerman. Fast had a great promotion they were going to run that, remember those $5 hoodies? They were going to make them $1 if he got a top 5 today. He accomplished that as the race ended under the red flag. So you could go to fast.co right now, use code ParkerGoesFast, and you can get a $1 hoodie. No shipping. $1. Not kidding. Why would you not want a $1 hoodie? So go do that. Go do that right now. Just a little bit. Of course, this is if you didn't participate in the $5 hoodie. So if you waited, good things are coming to you. Now you get it for $1.
Also want to give a little special shout out, if I can, another guy who made his Watkins Glen ARCA debut this weekend.
Yes.
Good friend Brad Perez, driving number 60 car this weekend, had a great run going. Of course, if you don't know Brad, one of the funniest, nicest guys and you'll ever meet in the sim racing and racing community. So a really good guy. Got a chance to hop in an ARCA ride this week. And was running very well, made his way up to around the top 10 until he had his brakes start to go on him. Usually mechanical errors kind of bit him at the end there. But nonetheless, all of us are really happy for him, and congrats on the opportunity for him. Hopefully he's able to get some more rides and show him what more he can do in the future. So big congrats to Brad.
Yeah, that was awesome to see. I know I was watching the ARCA race just trying to figure out everything that was going on with Brad Perez, as I know he's got a lot of fans out there too. Even saw our good friend Travis Brown out there with him doing a little bit of PR, everybody pitching in to try to make that dream a reality. So good to see right there. And yes, I did say the promo code correct. Parker Goes Fast. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said that correct. Yeah. Somebody in the chat confused me. They were making me think I didn't say it correctly.
Don't mislead the commentators, chat. This is not the time.
No, it is not.
It was Brian Blackford, of course.
Brian is saying he got his. So they actually broke the website because I went to it right after the race, and the website had so much demand that it actually broke the website. But I did it right before this race started, and it worked fine. So I guess they actually sent me a Twitter DM, Fasted, and said, Parker broke our website. And I replied, how rude of him. And they replied to that message, quote, saying, he's just too damn popular. So,
I mean, that's a good thing you break the website, right? I mean, it's...
Yeah, I'd imagine so. That's probably a pretty good thing. As we pace around under caution, lights are out on the pace car. We extended the caution flag by 1 lap to try to get everybody caught up to the back of the field. We're going to have, it looks like, just about 23 minutes left to go in this race when we get the green flag. So as we've seen in this series, a timed race of an hour, caution at 30 minutes. So a little bit of a shorter stint here to start this, but also on this restart, we don't separate by class. So everybody that short pit and stayed out, it was Lucas Cram, it was Cade McGee. Those would be your top 2. Interclass mingling going on right here as Lucas Cram will lead us to the green flag. Salas and Danson directly behind them. Let's see if Lucas Cram can do anything in the clean air. 23 minutes to go. And the pace car drives through the pit road, and we are green. Here once again, Salas going to try to make it 3 wide into turn 1. Oh, boy, this could be not good.
Oh, man.
Oh, there's a lot of contact there. Salas gets to the lead. Cram rolls back to second. There looks like, for the most part, everybody's made it through. Middle of the pack is really tight right now, but they're all making it through the first couple corners. This is going to be the big test as they head into turn 3.
Yeah, this is going to be, can they make it into turn 3 single file? They've mostly sorted it out. Big lockup from the 5 truck. Brandon Panetto, he's able to get it slowed down as they work up into turn 4. Still pretty clean, mostly single file. They've sorted it out now, but Salas, that was a fantastic move that he made. Oh, Tyler Gary, Cade McGee making some contact.
Jeremy Bro went off. Brandon Watkins kind of followed him through. Bro looked like he got into the corner way too hot. Kind of wiggled and got into the grass there, and Bro unfortunately didn't have a lot of space to go there. So that could have been a lot worse than it actually was.
Well, that's the other. I think I've done a couple of things tonight. I've been on my phone and I've seen a wreck on screen and just yelled, "Oh!" So I think I'm ready to just be in the eRacr booth permanently now, as you see a couple of interclass battles going on. A big dive there. That is John Wietendorf now, who is making his way by. He is in the A class right now. He's just been kind of riding around all night towards the back end of that class, but starting to move forward and make some headway towards Tyler Gary. That would be a battle for 5th in class.
Hey, Gary, sorry to cut you off there, Justin, but I was gonna mention Gary. If we remember, he had those internet issues earlier in the race, had to completely pull off the track to stay away from everybody, but he's worked his way back up into the top 5 overall, and he's looking to make some headway as they make their way down the road course.
I was gonna mention we got a really interesting situation here with the Ballistic Pack C class. A lot of those drivers were lapped by the overall leader, but 2 of them, Brandon Panetto and David Grantham, were not at the time of caution. And the way it gets all sort of filed out is if you're 1 lap down compared to the overall leader, you aren't waved around and all, you don't get your position back. But Brandon Panetto and David Grantham got sent back around by the pace car before we started having our pit stops. So those are the only 2 on their own lap in the C class. And it's a pretty close battle. I mean, about 5-10 seconds. But as far as the Ballistic Pack C class goes, those are really the only 2 that are even eligible to potentially go out there and win in the C class today.
Well, unless they get into each other or have some type of issue, you can see right in front of Brandon Panetto, there's James Gibson going wide, knocking out a couple of cones, but he sports about right now a 6-second advantage over David Grantham, who is in the midst of some lap traffic in his class. So that's the problem with Grantham, is that he's back here with some of those trucks that are scored a lap down, but he's battling them, and they're racing him hard because they basically have the same speed. They're drifting here through turn 9 and down into turn 10. Oh, Grantham, contact made with Jeremy Barreau. I don't think he's very happy. I think he apologized, but again, he's back here having to race slower traffic. It's got to be frustrating.
So, guys, if we want to look a little bit in the middle of the field here, the B-class lead is getting contested right now. Here comes Matt Taylor to the inside of Cade McKee, so he's going to take it. Going into turn 1, and he's going to try to get crossed over. What a move by McKee. Is he going to make this stick? There's no way. He gets through the corner. Here comes, look at this. Here comes Hoytsma. Look through the middle. He's not going to be able to make it stick. Taylor gets through the lead, but it's Taylor, Hoytsma, McKee, and Sabelski all right here. This is for the battle for the B-class lead. And right now, as we see, Hoytsma gets loose. Here comes McKee around the outside, and this is getting pretty close as he head down into the bowl section.
I'll tell you what, Sabelski there about looked to make it 4 wide. I really wish that they had been able to somehow make that work as now Sabelski. So really, we talk about 4-car battles for the lead in A-class earlier. Now you have that in the B-class as well. You have Cade McGee, who's escaped, Taylor, Hoytsma, and now Brian Sabelski, who again has been very competitive all year long in this class. He's right there at the front, and really kind of a 3-car line now for second. McGee has managed to pull away for a little bit. Actually, that's Matt Taylor up there who's escaped with the lead in class. So pretty good battle going on for second though right now amongst these drivers.
Oh man, side by side right here we see Matt Danson and Andy Trupiano. They've been battling for about a lap and a half or 2 laps, and as we go here entering this left-hander to the tight right-hander to enter the backside of the track, you can put a wow, goodness, Andy, what a hit of that thing. That's gonna screw up your left front tire if you're not careful.
Guys, we got another battle for second though. McGee and Hoytsma nearly make contact getting into turn 3. They're heading into the carousel right now, and Hoytsma has just been hounding McGee lap after lap, turn after turn. They've made a little bit of ground on Sabelski here, so I hate to keep directing from one battle to the other, but we're just seeing it all over the place right now.
I think we do need to invest in that picture-in-picture technology for this, because this is just this is way too hard. I feel bad for our producer Zach Johnson, who's got to click away on all these battles, but this battle is still so close. Cade McKee there trying to hold on. Lucas Hoytsma has been very strong all race. So this is the closest battle we got on track right now as far as big positions go. If we look back up as Hoytsma looks to the inside again, not really missing much toward the A-class lead. Danson's kind of made a little bit of a ground up on the drivers there, so they're all kind of holding strong right there. But this, by far, is the closest battle for a position here. As we got Hoytsma, maybe takes a look to the inside. He kind of holds off a little bit as they make their way into turn number 4 here, into the inside. Here comes Hoytsma. Contact as they make their way onto the road course. But man, this is definitely one of the most entertaining battles we've seen all race.
And this is such a tough way to try to do it. He got to the inside of turn 4, but then you get to the carousel, and with the banking, the inside is so much better that you see Hoytsma just not able to make it work. That's what we talked about with passing zones. You're just so light on passing opportunities. Big lockup out of Hoytsma. That allows Sabelski to join this battle as they enter turn 10. There's almost just no right way other than turn 1 to maybe get there, as there's some contact made, a little bit of a bump between Hoytsma and McGee. That's some good stuff right here, as now they're racing what looks like through the oval at 3 and 4, and Hoytsma going to try the crossover to get to the driver's left, and throwing the block is McGee, so Hoytsma going to go to the outside.
Oh man, this is like watching that Xfinity race at Watkins Glen. The outside, the inside, what works best? Hoytsma with the crossover. Oh man, real close. Oh, a little contact. Keeps it together, but that was enough for a little damage on the rear of McGee's car, and still looking side by side. Enough so that McGee doesn't feel comfortable taking that position. And oh man, they get away with that, but that might not make fans with your other fellow drivers and competitors.
I was about to say, Hoytsma was there. He was on the bottom. We've seen him try to make that move through 4 on the inside. It hasn't worked for him yet, but he tried it again. McGee got loose They hit doors, and luckily they're able to save it. Block up there from McGee, though. Sabelski loving, I'm sure, what he's seeing. He's just saving his tires, waiting for these guys to maybe go just a little bit too far. But some good stuff right here happening in the B class. Again, this is for second place. Matt Taylor is driving away to the tune of about a second per lap as these drivers continue to battle. Here comes the 97. He's not going to be blocked this time. He'll be to driver's left as they enter turn 1 this time.
And look at the line he's taking, throws it all the way in there. Is crossover. He doesn't have to. Contact again. Hoytsma's all out of shape, and that's going to let McKee clear him again. Here comes Sabelski now for the spot.
I'm gonna tell you, if I'm Hoytsman, my patience is gone. You've just moved me out of the way twice in one lap. I'm all right. Gloves are off. The bumpers are in game, and if I move you, whoops. But that's what you kind of did to me. So I mean, Hoytsma, if he moves him, I mean, I would expect it at this point.
Well, I think we're treated to pretty much one great battle out of one of the classes each week, and without a doubt, this is the good one that we've seen, particularly here in the second half, is this B-class bout that is going on for second overall. In the Xfinity cars, the truck, the Ballista Packs trucks are pretty separated right now. Panetto continuing to extend his advantage over David Grantham. Up in the Cup Series class, Lucas Cram, who, mind you, is on older tires, still keeping that track position. He's still holding on to second over Matt Danson. Tyler Gary, who has worked out his connection issues, he's showing some decent pace here. He's currently running in fourth. Trupiano, who got the pole all the way back to fifth, and now Weitendorf looking to make a move by him.
Yeah, John Weitendorf, he looked pretty impressive at Indy last week. He was running up there with a Logitech Gialtis guys who were just battling all over the place in that race. But he's looking to get a little bit of a better showing, trying to make his way into the top 5, and he passes Trupiano on the outside. That's a feat in and of itself. So looking to kind of capitalize on that. We got one off the track just ahead of these guys. Philip Buck in the 13 has gotten into the grass just outside of turn 10. He's going to keep out of these guys' way. Tyler Gary passes. But just ahead of them, as we can see, Matt Danson still all over the back of Lucas Cram. This is the battle for second overall.
It's a good bout right here between Lucas Cram and Matt Danson. I think we're seeing how important track position is at this juncture, because Cram on the old tires has shown a decent amount of pace here, but Danson, and we saw it with Vicente Salas before he was able to make a pass too, so difficult to try and find an opportunity around this racetrack. He really seems like getting into turn 1 is where you have to get it done. Otherwise, you're really kind of grasping at straws to try and find a way around. It has just been so difficult to come by to find these passing opportunities. Turn 6 is a good chance, but so hard to build up a run through 3 and 4 and turn 5 that by the time you get here to the carousel, you usually don't have a run at the guy in front of you. And man, passing has just been really difficult, but it's provided some great racing. I mean, you think of Hungary last week in Formula One, Fernando Alonso holding off Lewis Hamilton. Tough tracks to overtake can provide some pretty good racing, and we've seen that so far here tonight.
I mean, if you could extend the battle for laps on end, you kind of get put on the edge of your seat, right? And there's no way that doesn't become fun or entertaining to watch. So we see right here, the battle for second place, still going on. They're still closing in. There was, I believe, Sabelski came over his broadcast or something like that. Justin handed it over here and said that everybody in front of him, or these two drivers in front of him, are burning up their tires. So he's playing the waiting game, I think.
And actually, yeah, let's throw it down to pit road and hear what Justin Prince has to say on the 85.
Yes, indeed, and he's been dialed in trying to find some extra ground and extra pace to close in this grouping. He's been actually turning the wheel as well, more than 45 degrees in through the corners, especially in NASCAR 3 and 4, to try and find any grip in that section. He told me before this race he wanted to be careful because, unlike the flatter road courses they've been at so far, he mentioned going off here at New Hampshire usually means, of course, going off into a wall or a gravel trap. And he's been trying to find that balance throughout the race. And oh, by the way, when it comes to a couple of the competitors, it has been interesting, the differences in handling, especially in A class, because for Vicente Salas, he's described his handling as driving like a Cadillac. Matt Danson has screamed loose as the way his car's handling. So these drivers, depending on their experience, are feeling different things across this track with the grip levels.
Well, I think that's probably largely a case of kind of the awkward gearing through some of the portions. You got to think about the really low speed sections, but then through the oval, you heard it in our little walkthrough in the pre-race show, that video, you're in second, you're in third, you're in fourth gear through oval 3 and 4. Now, granted, if this was a regular race, you'd only be running in fourth gear, but I think that has a lot to do with it. The RPMs that you're running, spinning those rear tires, getting them heated up. The lockups, especially here in this B class that you see, we've seen a ton of lockups out of McGee, Hoytsma, Sabelski, and I just think that's something you see very often on road courses in the Xfinity car in iRacing. It's much easier for whatever reason to lock up the front tires in these Xfinity cars, and we've seen that quite a bit as well. That probably plays into how these guys are saving their stuff as well.
Yeah, these cards especially are so sensitive, and Justin Little will appreciate this. But in the FTF Grand National Series, they run these cars, and I run that series. Matter of fact, the race right after this one is that race. So, but these cars are so sensitive. They were at an Indy road course last week, along with us, of course, and we saw just how tough these cars were to get any type of grip. And if you overheat the temperatures in these cars, in the tires, I should say, they are just going to be a handful to drive for multiple laps after that. You really have to be so careful with the throttle here to kind of keep the tires underneath and at a reasonable temperature. I mentioned temperatures here because I'm looking over our track right now. The race started at, what, 123 degrees?
117.
We're at 128 degrees now for track temperatures. That is
wow.
very hot for these guys. And if you're new to racing, you're not quite sure what we're talking about there, that means the track is slick. These guys are sliding all over the place right now in these cars, especially with the B-class cars. And if we can get it on board with one of these guys in B-class, we can see just, I guess in any class, we could see just what's going on with these cars as they head down into the oval section of the track up to turn number 10. As we look on board, these cars are moving all over the place, and to keep these things under control and not spinning out every lap is a feat in and of itself. So big props to these guys for keeping these things going forward.
They've been able to do a nice job of that. We haven't seen that many. We've seen a couple of drivers spin off course, but nothing that has collected the amount that maybe we thought we would see, especially going into turn 1 in this race. I thought that if there was any track where we might see kind of the big one happen, this might be it, especially through this section. But the restart seemed to be pretty clean through both starts we had after the drop of the green flag. But still, this battle for second place in B class is the best one on track. You really got this, and then you have Lucas Cram and Matt Danson that are still going after it. Also a battle for second place in class. That one in the Cup Series class. The Ballista Packs trucks still dominated so far by Brandon Panetto over David Grantham. That advantage has stretched to about 8 seconds in that class. But Hoytsma, we talked about keys to the race, keeping your cool. I don't know how much more I could keep my cool continuing to ride behind McGee right here. I just don't know if I could do it for this long and maintain your composure. And, of course, you have Sabelski for any length of time. If you make a mistake, he's right there to pounce on it.
I mean, Hoytsma gets the run off of corner exit here almost every lap. In a couple of laps, he's gotten all the way up to the bumper, and McGee just blocks him into one. You got to be careful when he just sent it in there, got it real close, but you got to be careful if you're McGee. You've already kind of used up your goodwill with Hoytsma, and if you continue to block, this very quickly could become a short track race. So
it could, and you have to keep in mind right here, if you're Brandon Panetto, you are right behind this battle. There's a line of about 5 vehicles that are all nose to tail behind this battle. You have James Gibson, who is 2 laps behind his closest competitor in the A-class, so not really a whole lot for him to fight for. But Panetto right here, he's leader in class. He's got a pretty big advantage. I don't think you really need to push that hard watching these guys duke it out right here. I think you just need to kind of take it easy and and just kind of take what comes to you in a way.
I don't want to call him out here, but if I'm Brandon Panetto, I might want to try to get by that 82 car that's just ahead of him, because we've seen just how all over the place James Gibson has gotten all throughout this race. So if I'm the leader of the Ballista Pack C class, Brandon Panetto, I'm like, I kind of want to try to see that 82 in my rear view mirror instead of directly in front of me, because who knows what's going to happen if he overheats his tires. But this battle, I'm going to say it's kind of starting to cool off a little bit here between Hoytsma and McKee, but we know the second I say that, something's going to happen here. But Brian Sabelski is right there as well. You got to think, if Hoytsma's being patient there, Sabelski's got to be even more patient, as we've heard from the reports coming from his stream. He's just looking to keep the tires on that car and let the race come to him. And Blake, I'm thinking that might be the optimal strategy here going forward. But the question, I guess, becomes with him, how much longer are you patient? We're under 5 minutes to go here.
Yeah, we're under 4 minutes to go. As a matter of fact, the time it just seems every week to move quicker in the second half of these races. So not a whole lot of time for them to try to make up any ground. You have this battle going on for second in class. You also have Tyler Gary, who has started to run down both Lucas Cram and Matt Danson for second in the Cup Series class. So they're separated by a couple of car lengths. So the patience has to be wearing thin right now, because you don't really have a lot of time. And if you try to make a pass and it fails, you may not have another chance to try to make it by somebody. So a nice drive from Lucas Cram, but he's going to have to do his best driving here over the next 3 minutes if he's going to try to fend off both Danson and Tyler Gary, who's caught up to this fray.
It's a close battle right now. The only thing that I would say is not super close on track is the battle for first place overall. Vicente Salas has driven away from Lucas Cram in second place, 15 seconds ahead. That might be our biggest margin of victory we've had yet in the entire series. So what a drive today for Vicente Salas. That is incredible. Managed to get his way from the 5th grid position all the way up to first. Just what a drive.
He's pretty good. I'd say he's pretty good.
Yeah, I would I tend to agree with that, Sean. Thank you for making that point.
He might make it to the big leagues.
Now, he does have lap traffic in front of him, though. He has a couple of trucks that are still duking it out, so believe he'll catch them in the next couple of laps. See that long line of cars passing him the opposite way. Still led by Lucas Hoytsma, trying to get by Cade McGee, although McGee has pulled away by a couple of car lengths. Sabelski running out of time, running all the way there on the bottom. But as much as we've had battling, it just, I don't know, it's got to happen now or it's never going to happen.
So we're coming down, well, we got 2 laps to go, I think it would be, where we're at right now. So Salas and those guys have nothing to worry about. So Salas, Matt Taylor, the A, B, and class leaders, and Brandon Panetto as well. Complete opposite from what we've seen with like the battles for the class leads in previous races. These guys are just driven away from their respective classes. So as we look on board right now, and we got a whole line of cars. Here comes Hoytsma battling with Sabelski now. This is for the 3rd place in B class. So McKee kind of pulling away from these guys. So the battle right now looks to be between Hoytsma and Sabelski.
And Sabelski looked to take a crack at it there into turn 4, wasn't able to make it work. And he really gets probably one more opportunity. I'd have to imagine off of oval 3 and 4 is the best chance for you to try to set up that pass. As Hoytsma sliding into turn 10, Sabelski checks up for him. So it actually helps the 97, because I think Sabelski saw what was coming, and that actually widens the gap for him to try and make that move. Sabelski's going to try to go all the way to the bottom, build up a run, but assuming that this is the white flag, or...
No, it's not.
No,
they're 2 to go for them.
2 to go.
Vicente took the last lap at about 1 minute 48, or 1 minute 48 seconds left. So he's going to come around here and he'll take the white flag as he's working lap number 48 right now. Little bumper cars on the inside lane.
Jeremy Brodus gave Riley Dunn a shot for no reason right underneath the overall leader, but Blake, white flag is out. Salas doesn't really have a whole lot of traffic in front of him. He can cruise.
No, he does not. He is pretty well in the clear. Matt Taylor is as well, who's the leader of the B class. He still sports a 10-second advantage and growing over Cade McGee, who has made up enough ground, is about a second ahead of this battle for third. Sabelski slid on back, so Matt Taylor pretty well in the clear if he can just bring her home for one more lap. Brandon Panetto also in a great position, 13 seconds up on David Grantham. So your three class leaders, they just have to make another lap, not do anything that would put themselves in jeopardy, and they should be in a very good position. But Vicente Salas didn't exactly go his way in qualifying, started back and forth in class, so it took him pretty much that entire first half of the race to try and make up that ground, but it looks like for him, he's going to be able to do it. Doesn't have Casey Kerwin to try to fend off this time, but Salas going to try to make it 2 in a row through 3 and 4 for the final time. Checkered flag in the air, and Vicente Salas, back-to-back winners in the Cup Series class in the eRacr Roval Racing Series, gets it done in dominating fashion over Lucas Cram. What a drive from Cram. I don't think we saw him being able to hold off the likes of Matt Danson, but a marvelous job he does in that Valvoline Chevy. He'll take third, or second rather, Danson in third. Gary had a chance at third, but he'll end up in fourth. Whitendorf in fifth, and then Andrew Cipriano in sixth. That will complete the Cup Series class. Matt Taylor coming around to take the checkered flag now to win the Xfinity Series class. And just after him, this battle, though, raging on. The 97 of Hoytsma, Sabelski on the inside, not going to be able to build up enough momentum in time. So this great battle that Hoytsma waged on for about 20 minutes, he's able to hold on for that long and will take third. And there's Gibson again.
Yep.
Panetto wins the Ballistic Pack C class, and my ears just about hurt because he came over the radio and that screaming was it sounded like somebody just won the Daytona 500. That was awesome.
I guess he was pretty happy about that one.
Justin Willow congratulates him right there. So good win for Brandon.
Oh man, that was an awesome race there. What a great race. Like, just action the whole time. That was amazing. As we see them, they will line up.
Probably one of the best parts of the broadcast right here is when we get that three-way screenshot that our friend Dean Adders gets to take and throw all the tweets out there.
Dylan, get yourself set up, man. Gonna need this angle really soon.
This is a tradition that I just absolutely love about the Roval Racing Series. All three different Premier Series for the stock cars just lining up at the line, accomplishing something pretty incredible every time.
Here comes Matt Taylor looking to line up alongside of Salas. I feel good for Matt. Remember last week he got his hood knocked off for the picture? So I'm glad to see he's got a full car for this one this time. Here comes Panetto working his way up. And there we go. Photographers, get your cameras out.
The eRacr podium.
And these guys are going to burn it down. Here we go.
Oh, such an awesome tradition. This is so cool.
I think Brandon might need to work on his a little bit there. He finally was able to get his truck going there.
Well, there's no bricks this week, so we don't have to yell at him for all three burning out on the bricks like they did last week.
Yeah, the reps from Indianapolis Motor Speedway were really too happy about that. I think Josh got not really an angry email, but one saying, "Hey man, those bricks are old."
I got a package in the mail on Wednesday, and it was a jar of rubber, and with a note on top that said "Never again." So I don't know. Maybe they weren't happy about something. So we'll figure it out. I'll write them back and figure out what I'm supposed to be reading between the lines there.
So now here's a question before we get to the results. Is the lobster going to be the same size for each winner?
One will be a truck-shaped lobster, and the other two will be car-shaped lobsters.
There you go.
I don't know how you're going to get that to work. We'll have to talk to the PR people. But Vicente Salas, your winner for the second straight week here in the eRacr Roval Racing Series. He defeats Lucas Cram, Matt Danson, Tyler Gary, John Wietendorf, and Andy Trupiano. Those are your top 6, all in the Cup Series class and overall as well. So the Cup cars, once again, proving to be the fastest machines out here each and every week. Then Matt Taylor, your winner in the B class. He leads Caden McGee, Lucas Hoitzma, as well as Brian Sabelski. That rounds out your top 10.
Coming through 11th, we got Brandon Panetto right there. Yeah, that's a great run for him. Got that win in the Ballistic Pack C class. David Grantham right behind him. Gary Weaver, a last car on the lead lap. 14th goes to Justin Malillo. 15th, Philip Bupp. 16th, Christopher Colon. 17th, Riley Dunn. 18th, Jeremy Burrow. 19th, Joseph Selby. And 20th, DG Swiss.
And rounding out the field here, Dustin Ping finishes 21st overall, 7th in class. James Gibson, we saw him on screen for pretty much all the wrong reasons, but he had the most fun out of everybody, it looks like. He'll come home 22nd overall, 7th in class. Tyler Stillwell, 23rd. Brandon Watkins, 25th. Stacy Hunter, 25th overall, 10th in class. Michael Gonzalez in 26th. And Bennett McDonald will round out the field.
You will round it out as we will go ahead and catch up with your winner for a second straight week. Vicente Salas made it look easy out there. How fun and unique was this racetrack if you were at all familiar with it?
Honestly, that was a blast. I kind of hopped in, and my first laps were in qualifying, but I had ran this track once before in a legend car league. So being able to get back on here in a big stock car, you know, gearing was different, braking points were different. It was honestly super, super fun.
It looked like it, but also I want to kind of ask about having to get through traffic. We saw how important track position was, working through the field, through especially that kind of first half of the race before we had that midway break. It seemed like it was just really challenging, whether it was traffic or just how narrow this track was. It was very difficult to try and make up spots. How'd you navigate through that?
Yeah, honestly, at the beginning, I think we were running such different lines. I think it was top 3, top 4, and I think I was just able to kind of squeak by them once the tires wore out. And then as for, you know, lap cars and the cars in different classes, all of these cars have such different power ranges and just different ways of driving them. So I think everyone had such a different line, so it really made everything interesting, and obviously that affects the aero in so many different ways. So it made for a really, really interesting dynamic.
That's good to hear. As far as your prospects in the series, you get 2 straight wins. Obviously, those 50 points that basically puts you right in the championship battle. You going to keep coming out and try to go after that title?
Honestly, I'm going to try to come out to every single race I can. I have had a blast in all of these eRacr events, and can't say enough good things about you guys.
All right, Vicente, we appreciate the kind words, and congratulations once again. Second straight victory for you, Vicente. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And a real quick shout out to Brendan and Michael for being on the box, Matt Danson for the jumper he was wearing. And if y'all want some driver coaching or have some fun with me, head to ReaperSpeedLab.com.
All right, maybe you can learn some lessons and try to keep up with Vicente Salas for the next couple of tries if you want to come out here and run in this series, which you can do. It's not too late before we get rolling at Auto Club next week, but we'll throw it down to Josh Mendoza. He's caught up with the winner of our B class. It is Matt Taylor once again.
Matt, I feel like we need to make this a scheduled event on our Google Calendars. It feels like every week we're talking to you. Congratulations again on winning the B class. How did you get it done?
Oh, thank you. I had really good pace, and then was able to keep it clean on what was an extremely difficult track. First time I've really driven it into this week, and first time I've raced it. And it's funny because the pavement looks really wide, and it is fairly wide, but the racing line is so narrow. There just isn't a lot of room to move around up there.
No, it looks like you guys are just racing real close the entire time. Is there any point during the race where you were a little concerned about the pace of other drivers, maybe Lucas Hoitzmeier, Kay McGee. Do you feel like you ever had a challenger during the race, or do you feel like you just from the drop of the green flag you were happy with the car?
I was pretty happy, but I was definitely keeping an eye on the guys behind me. Cade for sure looked like he had really good pace. He had an issue during qualifying, and I saw he drove up through the field. And I don't know if he chose an alternate strategy or something happened. Somebody mentioned damage. Once I saw it looked like he had pit early and was going to end up on older tires, I felt pretty good. That restart was really hairy with the way it backed us all up. We were all kind of packed together. So being extra cautious and kind of picking my way through there was super important.
Well, there you go. Looking forward to next week. We're going to Auto Club. How are you feeling about that track? Have you done any laps on there, or is that still new to you as well?
That'll be brand new. I'm not even sure what the layout looks like yet. So,
well, very good, very good. Well, congratulations again, Matt Taylor, winning the Lobster here at New Hampshire. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There you go. That was Matt Taylor, and Sean Butler is catching up with our ballistic class C-class winner. There you go.
Hey, Brandon Panetto, winner of the Ballista Pack C-Class tonight here at New Hampshire. So, Brandon, talk to us, man. You came in fourth in the point standings in your class, and you leave here with a win. So that's going to definitely vault you up a lot further up in the standings. So, overall, how you feeling about your showing here tonight?
Hold on. I have to kick in here. So good.
Audio issues.
We got him now. We got him now.
You can hear us?
Yep.
All right, there you go. Sean, you go ahead.
All right, so Brandon, again, you came into this race fourth in the points, man. Got the win tonight, so that's definitely going to vault you up further ahead of these guys in your class championships. So tell us how this will impact the rest of your season there. You're going to build in this momentum for next week for sure.
Yeah. No doubt in my mind. I gotta tell you, I'll say this ahead of time. I won't be able to run the full schedule because in 11 days, actually, which is on the August 18th, I'm actually going to be going into surgery at the hospital, and I'm actually going to be out of the sim for a little while. But it's so relieving. It's so cool to get a win in this series. I honestly didn't think I was going to go far, but and all of these guys that have come into this series, they're all talented. I respect every single one of them in their own way. It's I just got lucky when I qualified at the Roval. I really did. I didn't coming into this. I didn't have a lot of road course experience under my belt, but as it turns out, throughout the first few races of this season, I've shown speed and I've shown consistency. Yeah, we're all guilty. We've all made mistakes at times, but it's really been a blessing to do this series. It's it really does mean a lot to me, man. This one's a straight up gift from God.
We appreciate you having in the series, man. It's been a pleasure to watch you all season long. You've been competitive in every race here, and you did put a spanking on them tonight, winning by that big of a margin there. So how much practice did you end up putting in to this track here? It's a fairly odd layout for this track, and a lot of these guys, this might have been their first time running through it. Do you have a lot of experience running this track on the sim?
I actually did do a couple practice sessions on my own. I did a few testing sessions on my own, but that was with different setups and whatnot. The first run I was struggling trying to get the braking zones down and all that, but as I put more laps down, the more comfortable I was, and when the setup came out for this weekend, I was feeling very, very confident in what I had, and at first I didn't think I was going to have the pace to keep up with Grantham because he put down a 110, and I was stuck in the 111 range, low 112s. But I was unfortunately Grantham, he got I think he spun out on his own. I think that's what happened. But that turned out to be the blessing in disguise for me. And I really wish it could have been down to me and him at the end, because we both put on fantastic show every time we come out. So yeah, I hate it for Grantham, but it, like I said, it feels so cool to finally get a win in this series, man. You don't know how much this means to me.
For sure, man. Like I said, you put on a great show here tonight, getting the W. So one last question for you, then we'll let you go and celebrate your win here. A lot of these guys were talking about, the track, maybe lap traffic here and there, maybe handling. What do you think was the biggest challenge that you had to kind of figure out how to overcome in this race tonight?
The biggest challenge I feel like that we had to overcome, it had to be throttle control. Especially as you're going up in the uphill section, because a few times I was barely getting on. I was half throttle going. I was trying to take it cautiously going to the uphill section, and it nearly snapped on me. So throttle control was very, very, very important, and it's both your friend and it can also be your enemy at the same time. And I'm really thankful I've gotten to learn tips from David Schildhaus, and I've also seen you with the road course racing on his videos and whatnot. So you do a fantastic job in teaching me how to control the throttle and what the braking zones are like, and I really owe it to you, man. You really helped me out.
Oh, we appreciate you, man. I might have to go back, and actually I probably will go back and watch what you were doing in this race to kind of keep that thing straight the whole time. But nonetheless, man, you showed him how it's done tonight. That was an excellent race by you. Of course, great win.
Is there? Can I quickly just say one thing?
Yeah, for sure.
To the viewers of this, and to the broadcasters, I've been a victim of depression and anxiety for a very long time. And I said in the chat earlier when we were all in the group chat, I wasn't myself today. I wasn't myself mentally today. And me and my family were going through a lot right now. And I'm also, like I said, I'm also going to be going to surgery not too long from now, which is going to put me out of the sim for a little bit. But I'm really happy, and I'm really blessed that I get to do this series, and I'm really super thankful to have family, friends, and especially my partners. Can't thank. Oh, sorry about the keyboard there. But yeah, can't thank. I can't thank all my friends, all my family, all my YouTube fans, the Blue Jay Revolution. I love you guys so much. You guys don't know how much hope you give me, and for helping me get through the rough days of life that I have to encounter. And especially a huge shout out to my partners at Angry Birds, and also I'm more than grateful to be part of the Angry Birds Studio Creators program. And the future is bright. The future is really bright. And even though there may be some days where it feels like the world comes crashing down on me, I'm just thankful to see another day, and being on the sim and doing all these events and whatnot. Let's be totally clear. I'm never gonna be as good as the top guys on the sim. I'm never gonna be as good as these guys. I don't put in the work. I don't put in the time. I don't put in the practice enough, as much as all you guys do. And just for me to even do this, for me to even do these events, it's just an honor, man. It really is. But yeah. So this is a pretty emotional win for me. But I know better days are ahead, and I really can't thank you all enough for keeping me going, man. Because honestly, I don't know where I would be right now if it wasn't for all of you.
Absolutely, man. Well, like I said, we definitely 100% appreciate you being here, and you've been in every race so far in this season. And it's
nope. I wasn't there for the Indianapolis Road Course. I wasn't there for that one.
Oh, that's right. That was the one you did miss. But every one of them, you've been really competitive in there. And you, like you said, you're doing better and better each week. And you got it to victory lane here tonight, dude. So, like I said, man, awesome drive tonight. Really kept that thing clean throughout the whole entire race and showed them how it's done tonight. We'll look forward to seeing you when you get back. Wish you 100% speedy recovery as soon as you're out of surgery. We'll look forward to seeing you when you get back on the track, and look forward to seeing you race with us soon.
I will be here. I will be there for Auto Club. And I'll make sure to put in the time and effort for that one. But I think the week after that, I think I might miss it. So
it's all good, man. Like I said, whenever you're here racing with us, that's good to see you out there, and you get to ride the momentum into Auto Club from this week. So hopefully we can make it 2 in a row there. But until then, we'll look forward to seeing you next week as well.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Brandon.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, man. Like I said, appreciate you being here, and good luck to you next week. And we'll look forward to seeing you then.
All right.
Blake,
So that, yeah, and that is that's an emotional Brandon Panetto. I know sometimes when we think about sim racing, we sometimes think that, well, these are just some guys playing a video game, and we forget that these are people out here that are racing. And you could tell just in the tone of his voice that really meant a lot to him to be able to come out here and not just battle and be able to kind of escape from things. Sim racing could be a great escape, but also come out as a win. It's great to hear. How much it meant to him. That was awesome to hear.
Yeah, it was. Big races. Those are the races that kind of keep you fueled, and sim racing. So I like that we can do that here at eRacr. That was really refreshing to hear. That it meant so much. This is just a series in between our huge events. So glad to hear they still have a little bit of meaning and can mean a lot to somebody to win. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's for sure. As he is the winner of your C class tonight, and I think that there's not really much else we need to say. I'm Blake McCandless. For my broadcast partners, Sean Butler, Josh Mendoza, and of course Justin Prince down on pit road, as well as Zach Johnson down in the virtual production trailer. We thank you for coming out for round number 4 of the eRacr Roval Racing Series. Of course, next week out, Auto Club Speedway should be a very fun one as well. We want to see you right back here, 7 p.m. Eastern, next Saturday night, live right here on eRacr socials. Give us a follow on Twitter, like us on Facebook, join our Discord, do all of that stuff, and we will see you next week. Congratulations to this week's winners, Vicente Salas, Matt Taylor, and of course, Brandon Panetto.